What up, Tucson Takeover? I am so excited to give this talk to y'all. Some of you might recognize me from the phone jams and from the workshops, but if you don't recognize me, let me introduce myself. My name is Marianne Chrysalis, and I'm here to give you my Vector Opportunity Talk. All right, so I actually started in Vector when I was 19, almost over 10 years ago. And what's exciting about my talk today is that it's brief, but it's powerful. And the reason why I want to share my opportunity talk with you is because I am now in my professional career. I work full time as a grant associate in a medical device company. It's a $1 million company that I've been able to pretty much get into, even though I never studied for it, I never majored in it. I was able to get into this company because of my vector opportunity skills and my vector experiences. So, let me tell you a little bit more about my story. And my hope is at the end of this talk, you feel a little inspired and a little bit more clear on why you are here. Okay. In high school, it might be hard to believe, y'all, but I was actually really, really shy. I was shy, I was awkward, I was hurting. You know, my little bit of my background is I am an only child and I'm the first generation from immigrant family. My mom passed unfortunately when I was 12 from breast cancer. And so it's just been me and my dad. So when I was in high school, I was hurting a lot and it kind of built a lot of insecurities inside me. And when I graduated from high school, I was at this point in my life where I really wanted to help my dad. You know, I was old enough to get a job. He was struggling financially, and I wanted to just help him and ease some of the pain off of him. So, I was open-minded to working, and lo and behold, I ended up getting a flyer at my college campus. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 5 times in one day. I received a flyer 5 times on the same day. And to me, that was kinda like a sign. I was like, "I probably should call this company." And when I called, got the interview, I remember all of my friends telling me that it was a scam. My boyfriend at that time said it was a scam. All of my friends said, "Don't do it." And at that moment, I wanted to be a little bit more independent. So I decided to check it out for myself, but with the intention of looking for every single red flag that I could find. And so I went into the interview and into training looking for reasons to quit, but it turns out it wasn't a scam. So obviously, it was totally different than what I expected. Back in the day, we had to do all of our appointments in person, y'all. So if you can imagine trying to be a person who was not outgoing naturally or not like outspoken naturally and being a salesperson and communicating with people that are twice my age in person, it was really, really nerve-wracking. I had no idea how long I was gonna stay in this job, but I know that I wanted to check it out and try it out. And so I did my appointments by just pretty much relying on my dad every single weekend. I couldn't do any of my appointments until I knew what my dad's availability was. He drove me. I only worked on the weekends and I had full-time schedule in college. And because of just because of persistence as well as effort, I ended up selling $1,000 in my first week. And a lot of the things that I didn't realize was so, like, essential to the job, like following the manual, calling the manager, and a lot of those things I didn't realize made a big impact, but it did. And so I just pretty much did the right things every single week, and for 13 weeks, I sold $1,000 with no car. And luckily for me, I ended up winning an All-American scholarship in my first 3 months of the job. And it was just mind-blowing for me because this was my first job, I had no work experience, I was super shy, and it didn't make sense, and I to me of, like, how I could get this scholarship. Plus, I only worked on weekends, and, I didn't even know, like, I've never won anything. I didn't even know what it was like to be a competitor. So that scholarship, which you can see right here, little eagle, being the top 25 salespeople in the entire nation, built a lot of my confidence. It led me to become an assistant manager and then a sales manager. I learned how to run the office all by myself. One of my proudest accomplishments was buying my own car, my first car, and paying for all my college expenses. So I had a lot of great successes in my first couple months with Vector, but what most people don't know is what it took to get there. And at that moment, when I got the job, I actually was arguing a lot with my dad. We were really, really, really like cats and dogs at that time in my life. And we were arguing every single week because he just didn't support me doing this job. He wanted me to focus on school, he wanted me to get a real job, and he just didn't see me in sales. He thought I was wasting my time, and I wanted to prove my dad wrong, and that was my purpose. I wanted to prove him wrong, but I also wanted to support him. I wanted to retire my dad. And just seeing him struggle the way that he did, it made it hard for me to watch him struggle in that way. So I was determined that I was going to overcome my insecurities, be financially independent, and be part of something bigger than myself. And that's actually one of the things I love the most about Vector is that you have an opportunity to impact others, your customers, if you're a manager, the people on your team, even your own district manager. Vector is all about impacting people, encouraging people. It's all about changing lives while selling knives. And for me, my proudest accomplishments when I was back in Vector was not the prizes, the money, and it wasn't even just proving my dad wrong, honestly. My proudest accomplishment was the people that I had a chance to develop. The people that I had a chance to impact and make their lives better by telling them how I made my life better through Vector. And that is the opportunity you have here as well. If you are here just to check it out, I hear you, I get it, that was me too. But eventually, at some point in your Vector career, in your Vector experience, you need to be intentional. And that is what I encourage for you, especially especially in this season, in this day and age. Be intentional with the things that you do. So when I came back in March 2020, it was more so just to help out a district manager. I already was starting my career in the professional industry, and I moved on from Vector after being in Vector for 5 years. I moved on to the things that I was really interested in. And what was great is that everything that I tried and every job that I did, I actually excelled more than my coworkers around me because of the skills that I developed here. And that's what we want to see for you. And when I came back, right, when I came back to Vector, it ended up being one small thing into a big thing, which is kind of how Vector is sometimes. You get caught up in the culture and the camaraderie, and you just want to stay and you want to do more. That's literally what happened to me. And I ended up creating the Phone Jam program, which you use to this day. Back then, phone jams were in person. We were high-fiving each other. Music was pumping. There was someone always yelling, "One more call." We had all these crazy chaos. And when I heard that it was no longer happening because of the pandemic, that definitely broke my heart. And I was like, we need to bring this back. And that is what the Phone Jam program is about, which I'll talk a little bit at the end on why it's important for you to attend. But moving on, right? With my Vector opportunity talk, I want you to have some takeaways. And so these are my top 3 tips for you in making the most out of your Vector opportunity. The first thing is having the right mentality about your tough days. Tough days will lead to your great days. Okay? Raise your hand if you've ever felt like quitting at Vector. Okay. That was me every single day. Okay. I wanted to quit even when I was succeeding. Why? Because it was hard. It was hard feeling like uncomfortable. It was hard going out of my comfort zone and speaking to people again twice my age. And it was just really hard when I didn't get the results that I wanted sometimes. But my manager taught me that tough days will lead to your great days. So what does that mean? That means every time you have a setback, It's actually a setup for something great, but you will never experience or attain that if you quit too soon, if you give up on yourself. Okay. We are not here to just make you sell knives. We are here to make sure that you become a better version, if not the best version of yourself while you're here. And that only happens when you persevere. So make sure that on the days that you feel like giving up or it's like too much, too hard, whatever it is, don't, and call your manager instead, because we will be here to help you overcome your tough days. Because we know if you just have a little bit more patience in yourself and a little bit more belief in yourself, something great's going to happen. My second point, be a people influencer, not a people pleaser. All right. When I first started, I was so insecure about so many things. I was insecure about asking for the order because I felt like I was bothering them. I was insecure about asking for more introductions and getting them to recommend me to people because I felt like I was a nuisance and it was going to be weird. I was just so concerned about what people thought about me. But at some point in your life, you need to graduate from that mentality, because what you really want to do, whether it's to be a great parent, a great lawyer, an entertainer, celebrity, whatever, or just someone who's just stable and has a good job that they're happy with, an influencer, whatever it is, you need to stop thinking and making everything about what other people think about you. Does that make sense? You need to stop being a people pleaser and be a people influencer. Be mindful of your impact here. Be mindful of how you can influence people in your demos. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about the value you could bring to the people that you see in your demos? Right? What's the value? The value is your energy. It's your goals. It's your ambitions. So many of my customers ended their day better after they saw my demo because they were inspired by my goals. So many of my customers and recommendations were so excited to help me with my goals because they wanted to be part of something, right? And so you have a chance to really influence people when you go on your demos, and you have a chance to reconnect. One of my favorite stories is when I reconnected with my third grade teacher who I haven't spoken to since I was in third grade, and we reconnected. And it ended up being one of my favorite demos, not because of the sale or the 15 recommendations she gives me, but because I got to reconnect with someone super awesome. And so there's this transaction of me influencing them, that influencing me when I do a demo, and that is value. It's not just about getting the sales. And also, if you want to be a certain leader at some point, a manager, you need to master overcoming objections here in Vector, and you won't be able to master any objections if you keep thinking about what other people say or what they're thinking about you. Does that make sense? You have to be the person of influence, not the one that's being influenced by others. And that's what we are preparing you for and trying to help you with. And the last tip I have is be extraordinary. Okay. Join the phone jams every week. Join the elite workshops weekly. What was great about the phone jams, like I said back in the day, was the energy, the hype, the supportive atmosphere, the high fives all around. And again, we wanted to bring that into the virtual world. And that's why the phone jam program was created. This program was just created 3 years ago because of the pandemic. So when you hop on to this phone jam, it's not something that's been around for years. It's such a unique experience. It's part of Vector history that's never been done before. And that's what's exciting about it. And plus, when you hop on, when you set demos, you get a chance to win free cash or Cutco. Oh my goodness, it's a treat. Okay, we didn't have that back in our day. So hop on these weekly phone jams for yourself and to get to know other people too. Phone jams and phone time is one of the hardest things to do. This is definitely a great tool to keep you accountable, because let's just be honest, like, are you really going to make your phone calls by yourself? I'm just saying, some of you will, and most of you won't. So I'm just being real, but hop on these phone jams. And the workshops, let me talk to you real quick about the workshops. These are for your personal development. Another new program that I just created pretty much this year, where we have a chance to grow in personal development. In these workshops, we are honing your skill sets. Okay. The main fundamental basics of the business is phone mastery, goal sharing, set selling, and getting a lot of introductions and recommendations. We are learning how to master those skill sets that will develop us into becoming a better sales rep and a better person, essentially, because of the communication skills you develop. And on the other side, I have the elite workshops, which happens on the first and the third Sunday, where we personally develop your mentality, your leadership capacity, your persona as a whole. For example, our next workshop is how to be memorable. I'm going to be teaching you how to be memorable everywhere you go, at a party, at your next job, whatever it is. There are skill sets and strategies to be memorable. And so you can see here on the calendar, screenshot this. You can see all these great opportunities where you get a chance to develop yourself, grow as an individual, and get a chance to know people, outside of your office, and really build these connections that are long term. So, my last quote for you all is to be extraordinary. Okay. And being extraordinary comes to those who create it. So I hope to see you at the next phone jam. Register at wrphonejam.com. I'll see you at the next workshop, which is Thursdays at 8 p.m., Sundays at 5 p.m. And that's a wrap, y'all. I'll see you there. Peace.